Partnership for goals. Must be relationship for goals now. But we all have other relationship goals these days. So it might get lost. Very bad joke, I'm sorry. But a truly engaging session that you gave us about how the soft skills matter, the communications matter, person to person, interpersonal skills and communication also matters. Coming back to the SDG 17, which is partnership for goals, the government of India is very extensively working clusters is luckily in Pune, which is the Pune Knowledge Cluster. And fortunately, we have the CEO of Pune Knowledge Cluster, Dr. Priya, with us. Dr. Priya, I would like to invite you for telling us about what all activities you do at Pune Knowledge Cluster, how you have been helping the city of Pune in achieving the sustainable development goals. Over
Thank you,
to you.
Piyush. Thank you to the leadership team of BNCA and Piyush for inviting me to be part of this event today. I think I'm very excited to be amongst all of you just because I feel, at least in this room, we have met gender equality as a goal. I think it's really, really nice to see so many women studying architecture, and I think all in one place. And of course, many such activities that the management has undertaken for supporting women. So kudos to that. I think before I tell you about PKC, let me share a few perspectives about what I think about achieving sustainable development goals. I think when all of us see those headings there, it is a bit overwhelming because this is being defined at such a large scale, which is very unfathomable for us. I mean, it is defined by people who are not sitting in this country, somewhere else, but then of course these are universal goals. This is not to be achieved only by us as a country, but it is to be achieved by everybody as a country for a global ecosystem, whether it is ecological, environmental, even for us to survive. But the only way we can sort of demystify this is to first contextualize this to the country and then break it down to a state and then break it down to cities and then break it down to towns and then break it down to districts, break it down to villages and then break it down to individuals. And ultimately, whether it's a city, a town, a state, it is finally made up of individuals. So whether the only thing that changes is the number and the complexity of how we live in a village versus a town versus a district, a city, and a state. So if I have to at least break it down to Pune, which itself is huge, Pune means the Pune metropolitan region, that includes PMC, that includes PCMC. Even if you think of achieving, say, a few of those goals at this level at which we all live, and or rather the benefits that we enjoy from the city, and also the way we contribute to the city, how can we go about doing this? The Pune Knowledge Cluster was incepted keeping in mind that can we bring various organizations like yours? Can we bring organizations like industries, R&D organizations, NGOs, environmental organizations, civic bodies, city officials together to work for the betterment of the city? Now, working for the betterment of the city itself is a very large goal. Now, what do I mean by working for betterment of the city? You can do this by going tomorrow and cleaning up your roads. You can do this by cleaning up your waters, and we can do this as citizens. But you can also do this collectively. You can do this using technology. You can do this in alignment with city officials. You can do this so that we are all achieving or working towards a common goal for the city. And this is what PKC does. We are enablers, we are facilitators. Our role is to bring all of you together, even at the citizen level, and I'll tell you a little bit about our citizen engagement programs. And we are using science and technology capabilities of just Pune city to begin with to see what can be done for the betterment of the city. In this context, I would like to say that we've had the privilege of interacting with city officials at various levels, at the municipality level, and to some extent even beyond that, and then of course at the state level. It is interesting to see that, you know, what we see as issues, that means whether we see garbage management as an issue in the city, or we see, for deforestation, that means your takris and your water and all of that getting affected in the city, versus what a city official's view is. And I can tell you one thing that, I was never in a position before I joined PKC where I had such close interactions with people who worked officially for the city. That means IAS officers or people who were really working in water departments or environmental departments. I can tell you that all our hearts are in the same place. We all want to work for the common goal. I have never really come across any city official who says that, no, this is not something that we want to do. They've been very, very receptive. I think the challenge has been, how do you actually implement it on ground? Like, how do you make it happen? One example I can give you was a discussion that we had with the Pune Metro as well as the Maha Metro. I mean, we are all right now, struggling with traffic issues in the city because of metro construction. The hope is that when the metro does come up, that we take the metro. That means we still don't continue doing what we are doing. That means using our cars. And as you know, that most of us use our cars to go to work. And you can observe this next time if you already haven't, is that these are single-driven cars, in the sense there's just one person sitting in the car. In other countries, there are rules where if you're a single occupant in a vehicle, you actually are sort of demotivated in many ways. Like, for example, you have a lane which is called a high occupancy lane, which is most of the time empty. If you were to take that lane, you would probably reach office or wherever you're going an hour earlier. But just because you are a single person in the car, you are stuck in endless amount of traffic. So you keep looking at that lane long enough, and you think, if I have one more person sitting in my car, I can actually reach my destination faster. So what I'm trying to say is there is an incentive to share. And share whether it comes to public transport, share whether it comes to managing garbage, share when it comes to managing plantations in the city. We carry out what is called as nudge experiments, because we know that in the next 2-3 years, the metro is going to be up and fully running. What we do in nudge experiments is we are trying to understand what it is going to take for citizens to use public transport. Now, if you actually think about it, it is a bit strange, because we shouldn't have to do this. Ideally, citizens should say that, great, we have a metro coming up for city, so we will take it. I mean, why do we need an incentive to take metro? So this is a common worry that we hear, for example, from metro officials, is that we're building all this. Will people use it? And how are we going to start today to nurture this concept of public transport in a city like Pune, which actually never had it? So if you go to Mumbai, if you go to Delhi, if you go to cities where public transport has existed for many, many years, this is not a big deal. Having another metro coming up is fine, because either you will take that or your local train or your bus, because it'll reach you faster. You don't have to do this level of convincing that you have to do like we have to do in Pune. So there's a lot of background work that city officials are having to do to make sure that people like you and me, 3 years from now, are actually using metro for all our connectivity. We are even working on building what is called the last mile connectivity with the metro, which is how do you go from your home to the metro station and not take your car and bike and park it below the metro station and take the metro. So can we have e-vehicles? Can we have e-rickshaws, which can ply between a 5-kilometer radius of a metro station and this? Now, the reason I'm telling you about all these initiatives is that we can deploy all the technologies that we want in the city. And in fact, I can tell you that we work even with countries outside of India to bring in technologies into India for climate change mitigation, for environmental impact, and all of that. Technology is not an issue in today's day and age. It's available and people are willing to share. In fact, technology has become far more globalized than we have as people. That means there is a lot of seamless transfer of technology in and out of India. The concern is how do citizens get engaged to finally make this work in a city? Now, citizen engagement is something that, you go talk to anybody, whether it's an NGO or whether you talk to, and I mean this from health perspective, I mean this from environment, anywhere, it finally boils down to citizens. Me, personally, as a scientist and also as a technologist, and also advised and mentored so many entrepreneurs to sort of raise money, build technology, and sell technology, I can tell you that tech cannot work if we as citizens do not enable that tech to work. To give you an example, we have some very, very advanced technologies for processing our waste in Pune. You can go read up, and these are fairly state-of-the-art. They're developed in India, they're deployed here, and they're set up also at scale to be able to process a good amount of the city's waste. The problem has been that they don't get enough waste to segregate. Now, you are seeing waste lying on the road, you are seeing waste lying here, and you must be wondering, how is that possible? How are they not getting enough waste? The problem is they don't get segregated waste. Segregated waste means they can process only food waste. So are we, as citizens, segregating